Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Amirul Mustaqim bin Azham. My matrix number is B1323103002. I'm from Bmkm, section 1/2. Today I'm going to explain about our assignment for diagnostics and troubleshooting subject. Okay, there are two components that we are going to explain for this assignment. The first one is the charging system, and the second one is the carburetor air intake system of a proton iswara car. Okay, I'm going to introduce my group members first. The first one is Amirul Mustaqim bin Azhar, which is me myself, and then Chin Kahin, and lastly Asfa bin Ahmad. Okay, for the introduction, this assignment applies the core principles of maintenance, diagnostics, and troubleshooting by examining real vehicle components using systematic methods through inspections of the battery and the charging system and the carburetor air intake system. Basic diagnostic steps such as identifying symptoms, taking measurements, and determining root causes are used to evaluate equipment condition and detect early failures. This supports the cost objective of using proper diagnostic tools and techniques to make informed maintenance decisions. Okay, next is the objectives and goals for this assignment. The first objective is identify basic symptoms in the battery and air intake systems to understand potential issues early. The second objective is perform simple diagnostic checks using tools like a multimeter and visual inspection. The third objective is find the root cause of any problems detected through systematic troubleshooting. And the last one is to suggest corrective actions such as replacing the air filter and preventative measures to avoid future failures. Okay, next we use simple tools during this assignment. We use a multimeter for electrical checks. Next, screwdriver for a disassembly, a flashlight for inspection, and a replacement air filter for the carburetor system. Okay, next I'm going to explain about the battery and charging system. The battery stores electrical energy to start the engine and supply power when needed. The alternator and regulator generate electricity while the engine runs and control voltage to safely power the vehicle and recharge the battery. This diagram shows how these components work together in the starting system. Okay, next, I'm going to explain about the possible symptoms. Before performing any diagnostics checks, it's important to identify symptoms that indicate potential issues. This slide shows the risk level of symptoms from low to high. Okay, the first one is dim headlights. This is usually an early sign of minor voltage drop. The second one is electrical components are weak. This reduces power supply affecting accessories. The third one is battery warning light. This indicates a charging system problem. Next, slow engine crank. This is very high risk as the engine may fail to start. Recognizing these symptoms helps us to make accurate decisions during troubleshooting. That's it for my part. Thank you. I'll pass to the next person.
So I will explain the next step procedure for the battery test. So first, we check the battery voltage when the engine is off. This helps us determine whether the battery is sufficiently charged or really weak. Next, we perform the cracking test, where the engine is started while monitoring the voltage drop. This shows how well the battery can supply current under load. And finally, we compare the result with the expected readings to decide whether the battery is healthy or require further attention. Mhm. So next is the diagnostic procedure for charging test. So the voltage is measured when the engine is running to confirm that the alternator is charging the battery. We also check the alternator voltage regulation to ensure the output is stable. In addition, electrical rods such as air conditioning and headlights are turned on to see how the system responds under load. By comparing normal and abnormal reading, we can identify whether the charging system is functioning correctly. So this is our findings. So based on the test connectors, this is our findings. When the engine is off, the battery voltage is 12.5 volts, which indicate that the battery is in good condition. When the engine is running, the voltage increased to 14.1 volts, showing that the alternator and voltage regulator are working properly. Therefore, we can conclude that there's no problem was detected and both the battery and charging system are operating normally. So this slide explains the possible damage mechanism in a battery system. So the first mechanism is sulfation, and corrosion, which usually occurs when the battery is filled, discharged, and for a long period or exposed to moisture. The second mechanism is overcharging and thermal degradation, where excessive voltage or heat damage the internal battery plates. Both mechanisms can significantly reduce battery performance and lifespan. So this is the root cause of the battery system. So this include wear over time, contamination, poor maintenance practice, and also improper installation and overloading can also stress the battery. Additionally, external factors such as high temperature, vibration, as well as material defects may contribute to battery issue. So for my last part, for corrective and preventive action of the battery system. So for corrective action, we can clean the battery terminals, replace the battery if necessary, and repair the alternator if charging issue are found. For preventive action, regular checks should be carried out, electrical overload should be avoided, and proper heat protection should be ensured. This step help extend battery life and prevent future failures. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Asfar bin Ahmad, number matric B1323102892, and I'm going to continue the presentation about air filter system. First is the carburetor air intake system. The air filter prevents dirt from entering carburetor jet and engine cylinder. It helps carburetor maintain consistent air to fuel ratio to reach the carburetor. First, the fluid regulates the amount of gasoline to enter the chamber, and then the nozzle discharges the gasoline. While the air enters from the air horn, go through the choke valve, and air and gasoline mix at narrow passage, cause Venturi effect. And then the throttle valve determines the speed of engine by controlling the amount of air to fuel mixture that is released. And then is air filter issue. The first is reduced power because not enough air for proper combustion, so the power is reduced. And then high fuel consumption. Because there is not enough air, that means instead the more gasoline used. And next is black smoke from exhaust. This is because the excess fuel is not fully burned. And finally, hesitation during acceleration. During acceleration, it needs more air, but because not enough air, the car hesitate. And next is diagnostic procedure for air filter. First is turn off the engine and open the hood. Remove the airbox cover, locate the air filter housing, and then inspect the air filter connection. Remove the cover using the screwdriver and check for dust, oil, or debris. Then pull out the filter and check for dirt and compare with the new filter. Next is the finding. There is a dust at the air filter, but no, not really any damage. So only clean the dust and then assemble back the air filter. Next is damage mechanism. So this is why we don't want the air system to be damaged because it will restrict the airflow. Um, Too much air fuel mixture, it complete combustion, so there'll be carbon deposit at the gap, and make the compression loss, higher fuel consumption, and reduce engine performance. Next is the root cause for why it happened. That contamination from dust that build up over time on air filter. Next is poor maintenance because too much dust accumulate. There need to be maintenance to remove the dust. And then environment factor. Place like construction site have more dust build up. And lastly, wear and aging. The air filter can degrade and lose its efficiency in filtering the dust. Next is corrective and prevention action for air intake system. The corrective action can be replace the air filter, um, clean the air box, and repair alternator. So um, can stop weak spark to avoid incomplete combustion. And for preventive action, replace every 10,000 to 15,000 kilometer to make sure the dust remove and avoid the dusty road if possible, and check filter for every car service. So the conclusion is both diagnostic result were certified undergoing the diagnostic. We could learn that the regular maintenance is important since it prevent the breakdown, extend the lifespan, ensure safety for passenger, and improve the performance and efficiency for the car. That's all for our group. Thank you.